Welcome, movie fans. Thanks for joining us for episode 97 of Reading Between the Reels. If you're a new listener, we're so glad you found us, and if you've been enjoying the show, please subscribe and tell someone about us. Post on X or Facebook, write an iTunes review, or just recommend the show to a friend. I'm Craig Dickinson, and today on the show, I'll be sharing the first in a series of Star Wars conversations featuring my English classes and some very special guests. This episode features Jeff McGee and Din from F-105.
Hey, good morning, mister.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
That's good to hear. Why does Palpatine come back in the new movies?
If I knew that, I would be a much happier person. If you want my honest opinion, it's because J.J. Abrams didn't want to do what Rian Johnson set up in the movie before. But if you want like a story reason, I guess it's just Palpatine is a malignant narcissist who believes that the universe is better with him in it. And so he'll do whatever he can to come back. And we actually are seeing in some of the cartoons, like the Bad Batch that just finished, we're actually seeing like the beginnings of that process. So that's my honest opinion, is that he's just so full of himself that he thinks the universe is better with him in it. What do you think?
That he was supposed to die.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Good morning.
Morning.
I was wondering, why is the film set a long time ago?
Because George Lucas wanted it to seem like a fairy tale. And if you say a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, then we don't have to worry about anything being... And I think it was actually brilliant, because then we don't have to worry about technology that we have outpacing the technology that they have. And it just makes it seem like more of a fable or a fairy tale. That's kind of the way I've always looked at it. Is that what you think, or what do you think about it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Cool. Thanks.
Good morning.
Morning.
Why is the film called The Phantom Menace? What did you notice about the way the Jedi are portrayed in the film?
Okay, so the Phantom Menace, I've always taken to mean the evil, like Palpatine basically is a Phantom Menace, because he's working in the background and they can't see him because they don't know him. And as a result, that's why I think the Jedi didn't really come off that well in that first movie or in any of the prequels. Did you? Because they're basically just kind of full of themselves and they're not paying attention. And they're letting fascism rise up right under their nose.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you thought? What do you think about it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Good question.
Morning.
Morning.
Why do you think Darth Vader is so obsessed with finding Luke?
Much like Palpatine, Anakin is a little bit of a narcissist. He's a little full of himself, and Luke bested him, so he wants to find the person who blew up his boss's favorite toy. And then once he finds out that Luke is his son, he realizes Luke is his son. That's when it really, really comes into play for me, because I think the part of Anakin that is still alive feels bad about the fact that he never knew his son and wants to have a relationship with him. So I think that was it. I think he wants either to have a relationship with Luke, or he wants to turn Luke into him.
I agree.
Cool. See? Very smart.
Good morning.
Morning.
What do you think of the way Han and Leia interact with each other?
I love it, especially in The Empire Strikes Back. I'm a big fan of like 1930s and 40s romantic comedies with all that really witty, quick back and forth. And I love the fact that, especially in The Empire Strikes Back, we kind of see them falling in love. I don't necessarily like the fact that they had so little interaction in the sequel trilogy, but I understand for story reasons why that happened, because they basically lost a kid. So other than the fact that I just wanted more of what I saw in the first three movies, I'm actually fine with it. I think it was actually really well done. What do you think?
What you said.
Okay. All right.
Why do you think Queen Amidala uses elaborate makeup, costumes, and an accent?
That's actually easy for me. I got a pretty good theory on that. I think it's so that her stand-ins, her doubles, can fill in for her, and nobody will know the difference. If nobody knows exactly what she looks like, then it's much easier to make somebody up to look like her. And if she uses that sort of lower register voice, so she's basically hiding her identity in plain sight.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I always thought about it. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
question. Good call.
In your opinion, how many people in the film knew that Padme was the queen and her bodyguard was a decoy?
Not as many as should have. I think probably her security detail knew, but I think that's probably it. The security detail and like her handmaidens knew, but I think that's probably it because that's what keeps her safe, right? Yeah. Yeah. Good question.
What did you think about the first meeting of Anakin and Padme?
Oh, in the Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
All I can think is cringe when I watch that now because he's so small. But I think it's fine. A lot of people have given Jake Lloyd a lot of grief for his performance, but the kid was like 9 years old.
Yeah.
I think I would, if I was writing it, I would have done it differently. But it's fine. What did you think about it? Did you like it, or do you think it
I think
kind of
he
stinks?
was like, I think, yeah, it stinks.
All right, you got a smart class there, Mr. Dickinson.
I know.
What causes Vader to break away from the dark side in the control of the Emperor?
I think that if you read the comics, which I'm sure most of you don't, if you read the comics, he is conflicted all the time. He's just trying to suppress it. That part, Anakin is trying to bubble up. And I think, somebody else had asked about, why he was so intent on finding his son. And I think in that moment when he saw the Emperor killing his son, I think he probably remembered Palpatine saying, wait a minute. There's actually a Robot Chicken episode where he remembers Palpatine saying that he killed Padme and before she could give birth. So he figured out, oh, wait, this guy's been lying to me the whole time. Let me save my son and get rid of this guy. And then I think he actually probably would have become the Emperor had he not died at that point. Personally, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Why do Jedis use lightsabers, not a blaster?
Because a blaster is clumsy and random, according to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, not as clumsy or random as a blaster. It's an elegant weapon for a more civilized age. Plus, I think it's got more uses. They can deflect blaster bolts. We saw in the Phantom Menace they can actually burn through stuff. So I mean, which would you rather have, a blaster or a lightsaber?
A lightsaber.
See, exactly. There you go. They just know what's good. Cool. Good question. I like that one.
Good morning. How you doing?
Morning. I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. Why do you think the Jedi Council ultimately let Obi-Wan train Anakin as a Jedi?
I've always assumed that was sort of to honor Qui-Gon's wishes, personally. I've never really had anybody ask about it before, but that's always kind of what I thought. What do you think?
I don't really know.
Yeah, it was either that or I think it was either that or the fact that they didn't want somebody with his level of ability going untrained. So I think either one of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good question.
Thank you.
It's a very good question.
Why is Bail Organa upset about the creation of the Grand Army of the Republic?
Because he knows where it's going to lead. He knows it's going to lead to basically a fascist state with an emperor in control of everything, and he favors democracy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why would Anakin's age be a reason to reject him as a potential Jedi?
This is the in-story reason is because forming attachments is dangerous for Jedi, and the fact that he's already at the ripe old age of 9 years old, he already knows his mother. That's why the Jedi take children when they're babies so that they don't form any attachments. That's the main reason. And I feel like it's wrong personally, because we saw, with Luke, that those attachments he had to his friends ultimately made him stronger. So, but that's why they did it. But I still don't know that I agree with it. What do you think about that policy? You think that's good or bad?
I think it's good.
Really? Okay. So you think it's good that they're not forming any attachments and they can just focus on the Force?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. I'll buy that. Cool. Good question.
What is the significance of Padme being continuously in danger?
To give Anakin something to do. No, I think it's a result of the fact that Padme is fearless. And again, I keep going back to the comics. I host a podcast about the comics, so that's why you'll hear me reference the comics a lot. In the comics, her character is so much stronger and more interesting than what we see in the films. and it really fleshes that out a lot. She's very committed to doing what's right and protecting her people and protecting the Republic. And so she's willing to just put herself in danger as a result. And that's why. Yeah, that's what I always thought.
What is the most memorable quote from the movie A New Hope? Why?
From A New Hope. Let's see. If you could ask me The Empire Strikes Back, I had an answer ready. So from A New Hope, I think my favorite line from that is when Han Solo is talking after they have the big fight in the control room, and he says, large leak, very, very dangerous. We're all fine here now. How are you? It just makes me laugh, and it's very natural, and that's probably my favorite bit of dialogue from the movie. What about you? What is your favorite line?
Probably the same.
All right.
Why did Yoda hide who he was when he first met Luke?
It's an excellent question. I think he was trying to feel out Luke and figure out who he was. He didn't know him. He knew who he was, but he didn't know him, and so he was trying to figure out. They always say character is who you are in the dark, and the way you treat people who can do nothing for you is a good way to figure out what kind of character you are, what your character is. And I think that was it. He was trying to feel Luke out and see how's he gonna treat this little green little guy who looks weird and acts crazy. That's what I've always thought. What do you think?
Yeah, like a test.
Yeah, it's like a test. That's kind of what I always thought. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
Luke and Anakin each are willing to risk their own lives in order to save their friends. Who is braver and why?
I think Luke is braver because Anakin had all of this Force training and knew everything that he needed to when it came to using the Force, and Luke is sort of flying blind. He's kind of learning as he goes, and he has whereas Anakin had the entire Jedi Council behind him and the Jedi Order, Luke was on his own. So I think, to me, Luke is braver. What do you think?
I agree.
Good.
What do you think of the way Jar Jar is portrayed in the film Attack of the Clones?
In Attack of the Clones, well, I'm glad that we didn't get as much of him as we got in The Phantom Menace, because he, I don't know how everybody feels about Jar Jar, but he annoys me. But I love the fact that Lucas said, you know what, you guys don't like this guy. I'm going to make him the one that's responsible for the rise of the Empire. Because if you remember, he's the one who set the vote on powers for the Chancellor. So I actually like the way he was used in Attack of the Clones a lot. What do you think? Did you like it, or did you want more Jar Jar?
I liked it.
Cool.
Hi. Why does Luke surrender to the Imperials?
I feel like Luke surrendered to the Imperials because he knew that was the only way he was going to get face to face with Darth Vader, and he was committed to turning him from the dark side. So that was the easiest way and the safest way for him to get face to face with Vader. That's always been my thought about it as well, at least.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Jeff, thank you so much for
Sure
joining
thing.
us.
That was fun. Great questions, everybody.
Yeah. We'll do it again next year.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good
Thank
summer,
you.
everybody.
Yeah. Hey, have a great day, dude.
May the Force be with you.
Hey there.
Hi. What's your favorite song that you've made?
Oh, good question. I'm gonna have to say the third song on my new EP, Baby Makes Three Mix. It's every word is a true story about a friend of mine, sort of like a Padawan, someone I was helping, an artist, a Japanese idol singer who's trying to emigrate to North America and be a musician, and she had a breakdown a few years ago because of a whole other lot of things going on during COVID and the racism towards her. She's Asian, but You Say You're Not Special, I think, tells a really perfect story about how I think people must feel growing up in this world where your worth is measured by how much likes and followers you have. And I think that's silly, and I really love the song and its message. Thank you. I love that question.
Okay.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How expensive is it to make music?
Oh wow, I was expecting all Star Wars questions. According to the CEO, who's a billionaire of Spotify that doesn't pay artists, he says it's okay to not pay artists because it's very cheap. It's quite expensive to make good music because it's not just the recording time of 50 or $100 an hour to record and mix. It's also how long you spend touring and developing your songs and all that money. You know, it's a lot of money and energy, but it is cheaper to record now and do it yourself. If you're just to record, that's pretty cheap. Yeah.
Thanks.
Good morning.
Morning.
What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
It's Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, what's yours?
I don't have one.
Okay, fair enough.
Good morning.
Morning.
What's your least favorite leitmotif from Star Wars?
I don't know if Anakin's theme could be considered leitmotif, but it's really kind of interesting. It uses every single note in the musical scale and hints at the entire body of work that John Williams made after for the Star Wars story. So Anakin's theme, yeah, it gets me every time.
All right.
How have the prequels shed light on how Anakin became Darth Vader?
The prequels are about how an entire body of people can be corrupted from within, so infiltrating the political system from within, but then how someone's being and actions can be corrupted from within. So I think Palpatine definitely had a plan to corrupt Anakin within. Unfortunately, Anakin still has free will, and fortunately, we all have free will and free choice, no matter what the outside influence is on us. But Anakin used his free will and choice to make the wrong choice.
Hello.
Hi.
What do you think about Darth Vader's theme?
Oh, the musical theme?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Just some Easter eggs for you. That's actually based on Mozart's Requiem, which is a funeral, the word for a funeral theme. And so is Michael Giacchino's theme for the Batman. They're all based on Mozart's funeral requiem, and Giacchino also did the Rogue One soundtrack.
Oh. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
How did Anakin's loss of his mother impact his decision making?
Fear is always going to lead to bad actions if you're not aware of your fear. Fear is normal. There's a big bear in front of you, you should feel fear. But you have to use the awareness of fear is to give you an opportunity to choose courage. So unfortunately, he didn't use his fear to choose courage. He used fear to choose anger and bad actions. Also, fear is false evidence appearing real. So Padme would not have died unless Anakin made it happen. He's the one who injured her and brought about that reality. So what he feared, he made.
Hey, mister.
Hey.
Why are stormtroopers aim so bad?
Oh yeah, because the Empire didn't train them as well as clones. But I think more that just George Lucas was trying to make a kid-friendly movie.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering how come when they're fighting with the lightsabers, how come they just can't turn them off and then turn them back on so they stop the clash?
But if you turned it off, like when someone's coming at you, then there's lightsaber would just hit you. I'm not sure what you mean.
Yes. If you were like as smart as me, maybe like you would know how to fight with it.
If I was as smart as you, that's a good point. I'm definitely I know I'm not as smart as you. I could guarantee that. I still don't understand the question, but I'm very amused by it. Can you explain? Like act it out? Can you act it out?
Like when they're holding the lightsabers together.
Okay, I got my lightsaber.
And then just turn it off.
All right.
And then I can just turn it back on and hit you.
Oh, so like you sort of faking me out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I won't get in a lightsaber fight with you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Morning.
Morning.
What is the significance of Padme being constantly in danger?
Yeah, I think well, she is that's a good question. I'm gonna take this answer not from a storytelling point of view, but from what's happening in the universe. I think she's a young person with energy and dedication, and she's known as someone who doesn't give up, and she challenges the most powerful people in the galaxy. And if you challenge the most powerful people in the galaxy, that puts your life at danger. I mean, it makes me think of people like John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rosa
Thank you.
Parks. Yeah.
If Darth Sidious and Darth Vader were to face off, who would win?
Darth Sidious and Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Oh yes, Sidious, yeah.
You
Because
think?
he just has the mental edge over Vader, yeah. It's sort of like how Obi-Wan Kenobi beat Anakin. You know, Anakin's more he has more midi-chlorians, he has more innate talent, but Obi-Wan Kenobi knows how to have emotional content. Watch Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon movie about emotional content, because Bruce Lee is the real deal.
Okay.
Yeah, watch Enter the Dragon.
What's your favorite song in Star Wars?
Well, I think I was asked what my favorite leitmotif was, and I think it's Anakin's theme. But if we're gonna go with song, uh, just like as a song, I'm gonna have to say Yub Nub. Yeah.
Thank you.
The Ewoks, yeah, you're welcome.
How many songs have you created?
That's a good question. I have an 8th album recorded and unreleased, so I don't know, maybe around 80. Yeah.
Anakin is shown to be very good with technology. How might this be foreshadowing?
Yeah, that's definitely foreshadowing the fact that he'll when he fails himself internally to make the right choices and gets damaged, he has to rely on technology to live. That's a great observation.
Is it justified for Anakin to kill Count Dooku?
That's a good question, because Mace Windu was about to do the same with Darth Sidious. Yeah, I would say I would say no. I would say Anakin killed a defenseless person, no matter how threatening he was. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
In anger, yeah. In fear.
Why does Yoda say that Luke only needs to confront Vader again to become a Jedi?
I think it means that that's a great question, and I have thought about it. I think it's the first version we saw on screen of what the Jedi trials are, wherein I think the masters and the teachers choose a challenge that they know will be the right trial for that student. So somehow Yoda knew that facing Darth Vader would be the right trial for Luke, and not necessarily about killing him, but about by Luke facing Darth Vader, he's facing his own Darth Vader inside that he saw in the vision in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah. Great
Thank
question.
you.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Morning.
Why do you think the Imperial officers are more afraid of the Emperor than Darth Vader?
Well, I mean, I would be more afraid of the Emperor than Darth Vader. I mean, anyone who has eyes everywhere and can think 10 steps ahead of you, that's the person you really got to be scared of. Yeah.
Yep. Why does Yoda say that Luke only needs to confront Vader again to become a Jedi?
Well, he decides that the biggest challenge that Luke would have in his life to overcome fear and hate and anger, maybe on an internal level, and then reach a state of balance. That's a great question. I haven't thought about it, so thanks. I would imagine it means the Jedi want the graduation from Padawan to Jedi to be about psychological and emotional balance more than anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why does Darth Vader tell Luke that he's his father?
Wow, every year you all have such amazing questions. That's great. I think Darth Vader thinks he's saying it to convince Luke that he does have a destiny and there's no real way to resist it, just like Anakin couldn't resist it. But subconsciously, I think Vader knows that the love bond between him and his children is the only thing that could save him.
What is ironic about how Anakin treats Padme on Mustafar?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's what I was saying earlier was the irony is Padme would have lived if he wasn't scared of her dying. He brought about that reality. He killed her through his actions with her, like the what he did to her physically. And then, sorry, it's hard for me to talk about this with students. I'm also a teacher. And also he did that through his political choices. And sorry, I was going somewhere. Just say the question one more time. I just started thinking about something.
What is ironic about how Anakin treats Padme on Mustafar?
Yeah, so the ultimate irony is that he created what he feared and it wouldn't have happened. And it ties in to the best line in all of Star Wars, which is the Phantom Menace. In my opinion, your focus determines your reality. Anakin determined his reality by focusing on fear of her death.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was your inspiration on your new song?
Being in my mid-40s and being a teacher of younger people, and also what I was saying before about sort of this younger musician that I was helping. I don't want to write music I'm like George Lucas. I want to figure out how to make art and music that my own teenage or child self would have liked. So, but knowing but not being fake, like not trying to be cool and young again, like not a rock and roller trying to relive his youth, but like from the perspective of this is how I think about these issues from my age. And I think they're important. And I wanted the songs to be like a conversation between me and younger people, not like preaching at or not trying to be young and cool, if that makes sense. Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
What do you think the most impactful scene for Anakin is?
Yeah, it was up until Kenobi, I had a different answer for you, but I actually think the unmasking scene and between him and Obi-Wan and the season finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi is the most emotionally impactful and greatest acted scene in all of Star Wars ever, actually. And just a little story. I got invited to see the season finale premiere of Obi-Wan Kenobi at a movie theater in Toronto with Deborah Chow and Hayden Christensen in attendance. And when we were watching that scene, Hayden actually came. I'm getting chills thinking about it. He snuck into the movie theater to sit down to watch it with everyone because he was that happy with it. And after he said, "Yeah, that scene, what happened? Yeah, that was really good." So I think something special really happened there. And you could tell if you watch the special features, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen have an emotional connection that was similar that led to them being able to come up with that on screen.
So that's a fantastic place to end, and we got to wrap because it's almost the end of first period. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, Dan. Really, really appreciate it.
Oh, it's like I'm not just saying it's my pleasure, you know. Teaching is the best, and the questions were amazing, and I'm sorry if they were long-winded and we didn't get to all of them. And thank you again for the musical questions and tying that in because it's directly influenced by Lucas. Thank you. May the force be with everyone.
Yeah. Have a great day, my friend.
You too.
So as we close, we just want to say thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on X and Facebook. Email us at readingbetweenreels@gmail.com or use the SpeakPipe app on our website. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and tell a friend. And you can support us by writing an iTunes review. One last thing, our next episode will be the next in our series of conversations between my ELA classes and some very special guests. We hope you'll check it out and let us know what you think.